G'day everyone, welcome back to the Catch and Pass podcast. I'm Stocksy. This week we'll be analysing round 8. We're going to be talking a bit about junior development and whether or not we should be getting salary cap sanctions for developing juniors. We're going to discuss our top 3 centres of our lifetime. We'll answer fan question, singular, and maybe talk a bit about some signings and injuries that's happened. Anyway, sit back, relax, and join Brad, Hodgie, Dave, and myself, and enjoy the show. Anyone? No? There we go. Where the Broncos, the mighty Broncos, every second till the end. Who's back on the winners list? Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to do the real theme music now, or
Yeah, do it.
Fucking bullshit.
That's right. It's the Catch and Pass podcast. Dave and I are pretty excited because the Broncos have finally gotten into the winners ledger. Dave, congratulations, mate. You tipped Broncos 1-12 last week. You just completely nailed that one. I threw them under the bus with the Titans 13 plus, but here we are.
Worst fans ever.
Yeah, just had that feeling, Stocksy. You know, like we're building for a bit of a run, maybe undefeated. I don't know. Arguably, it might be one of the greatest comebacks in the history of sport, arguably. But we'll see how we go from here. We got the Cowboys this weekend. That should be easy, and then from there we can build a bit of a momentum and look forward to September. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, we've been saying it. Ambush is on. No one's going to expect us coming up from so low, but here we are. It's going to be all Broncos from here on out, I think.
All Broncos.
I find it so hard to take you serious with that fucking background.
Yeah,
You're like a newsreader.
Well, look, I wasn't going to do it, but once I witnessed, like I said, arguably the greatest comeback in the history of all sports since mankind invented sport, I thought I'm going to have to set it up with, the background of where it happened. This is Suncorp, obviously.
Actually, I actually got a phone call from Wayne
vintage.
Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky rang and said that the Broncos' comeback against the Titans was better than America's victory at Lake Placid. So that's a big call coming from the greatest.
Yeah, but Wayne Gretzky's still off his head from the fact that Dustin Johnson is ploughing his daughter. He's not thinking right.
Jesus,
foggy.
To be fair, she's a decent sort.
That was Brisbane's biggest comeback ever, wasn't it?
Yeah, biggest in club history.
Yep.
Yeah,
good for them, mate. Good for them.
Bigger than Seabiscuit, Kardashian.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think you'll see a bigger comeback in our lifetime in sport. I don't think so.
No, definitely not.
That's fair.
Mighty Ducks.
So, Mighty Ducks. Well, have you seen the Mighty Ducks have got a TV show now?
Do they
watching that? Yeah, they started a new show on Disney Plus.
True.
No great movie ever turned into a good TV series apart from Cobra Kai.
It's got Emilio in it, mate. He's back.
Is he actually in it as a coach?
Yeah, he is.
He's back, straight out of jail.
I'm not. No spoilers. Just watch it. It's good value.
I haven't got Disney Plus. I'm not cool.
I'll
take your word for
it. All right.
I got
Anywho,
Hodgie. Sorry.
No, go on.
No, I was going to say I got Brett's username and password. Man, I'll hit you up off.
Oh yeah, hook me up.
Yeah.
Brett, say it on here. Say it on here.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, anyone.
Brett's got Disney.
Sorry.
Brett's got Disney Plus all these dates.
Can I just feel free to edit this out if I'm right? But is his password tons of 123?
It 100% would have tons of Godgers or Queen of the Nile or something on it. So.
2006 iPad.
Hey, fuck you! I'm still using that. I can't wait till I stop using that.
Yeah, I had to delete 2015 pretty quick, but yeah. So what's everyone been up to during the week? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll go. I joined the gym today.
Did you?
Yeah.
I did.
Which one? Which one?
Anytime. Fitness. And discovered that the treadmills there have these like large LED screens, and you can watch Netflix or listen to Spotify, YouTube, whatnot. But if you don't, you're just walking through the woods, and you're walking or running on the treadmill past fat people. It's like inspiration. So before you knew it, I'd run like 215 meters. It's great. And I came home.
Which one is it?
Indooroopilly.
Which one?
Anytime Fitness Indooroopilly.
I've tried one of those.
Followers, if you're listening, come down, say good day.
No, yeah, I've tried one of those treadies before, and it's really handy to have the Netflix up on the screen while you're having a jog there. In fact, I found it's even better when you just switch the conveyor belt off and you just watch Netflix and
take a deck chair and put it on the treadmill. Yeah.
Except there's nowhere to put my Hungry Jack's bag, but it's
a bit
inconvenient.
So I'm 100% strike rate at any time this week, starting today. It's good.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Good job. Good. Cool. Who's next?
What do you get today?
Too much.
Oh yeah.
No, you're right. You're right, Dave.
I was down Adelaide for 3 days. You boys know, playing golf for the Defence Force against the South Australia golfers, and that was pretty good. A few days of golf, really nice course. Drunk a lot of piss, and we got flogged. But besides that, I had fun. So
it's all about the funness.
Pretty much.
Angolese?
Big pub?
Yeah, I haven't been doing too much. I worked. Been working a lot.
How's the Form 1 Hodgie? He texted us all this morning and says, when Stuxy asks what you've been up to all week, have a story. Don't say I haven't been up to much.
Wait,
no,
I literally just said that.
Wait, I'm the king of making sure people do everything. I literally got my free centers 25 minutes ago. Completely forgot all about it. I work best under pressure.
I don't know about that, but yeah. All right. Well, for me, I've been just doing a bit of work. It's been raining in Canberra for a couple of days, and so I've been on Netflix. I watched that NWA movie, Straight Outta Compton, the biopic. It came out in 2015, but I hadn't seen it until now, and it was a pretty good flick if you want to go and watch that one.
It came out in 2015.
Yeah,
it was a while ago.
And so that's inspired me because, I've always been a fan of Ice Cube and Dre and NWA, and I just been busting all of them out on Spotify all day at work and getting angry at the police for some reason. But it's been good. So if you just want to revisit some good old school gangster rap, go back and have a listen again to Straight Outta Compton and E04 Zaggin, and watch the movie. It's a good flick. It's probably a bit friendly towards their own stories. Like it's very Ice Cube and Dre friendly, but they leave out a few things like Dre's big history of domestic violence and stuff. But that's it's a good movie nonetheless.
I thought they nailed it. Films, does it?
I thought they nailed it.
Apparently he was
sick.
Well, that did in fact happen. So
really,
yeah. So Dre apparently was sitting there in the studio as they were filming, watching every scene. So it would have been a bit awkward having him smacking some chicks around and stuff.
Yeah, damn.
All right. So do you just want to get into the round that was?
Get it over and done with.
Yep.
Get it over and done with.
Rightio. Well, this week we've changed it up a little bit. Each one of us has been assigned 2 games to give a quick rundown on, and then we can discuss it as a group, but we'll try and get through it a bit quicker this week. So I'm up first. I've got the first 2 games of the round, Raiders Bunnies. So it didn't go too well for the Raiders, as we know, but it was a bit of a contest for most of it, I thought. George Williams injured himself in the warm-up. So that was a bit of a bad omen straight away for the Raiders. And now apparently he wants to go back to England. So must have been a bad injury. But you know, they've had a few dramas, the Raiders, this week. So they've had that Tarpaning's wife. Yeah, she's gotten on Instagram and slammed Sticky for dropping him last week. And anyone knows that you want your wife publicly bashing your boss on social media, don't you? Especially when you're famous. Anyway.
It's not the first time it's happened, and it never, ever, ever works out well.
Never goes well.
Sticky's hard to be like, oh yeah, no, you're right. Back into the side.
I reckon the writing's on the wall that he might be on his way out of the club, to be honest.
Who's that?
The game, Tarpany.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right.
I thought you were saying
Do you know,
Ricky.
I doubt it.
Hey?
No.
I thought you were saying Ricky.
Did you hear Sharks are interested in Adam Reynolds, bro? Anywho, they
You guys hear a screeching sound, is that?
Raiders, 20 missed tackles. They had some shocking defense. I don't know if you guys watched it, but it was just poor defensive read after another. Especially, it looked like they just didn't have any trust in each other. And that winger that's replaced Nick Kotrick, Bailey Simonson, bad reads all night. He's shooting in so early, like every time they come over that side. And I think they
Who's inside him?
Good question.
Can't remember.
Oh, Curtis Scott.
Curtis Scott.
Yeah. But every time I saw him shoot in, it looked like he didn't need to. He was going way too early. And anyway, they scored, I think, 3 or 4 tries on that side, the Bunnies. The other big stat from the game was the penalty count. Raiders 8 penalties to South's 1 at a Raiders game. And 4 of those penalties for the Raiders came from Corey Harawira. How do you say his name? Harawira. Yeah, 4 penalties just to him. And so I'm sure Sticky's going to be fuming about that. But
Raiders gave up another lead too.
Yeah. And so it was pretty tight there for a while, but then the Bunnies just found another gear. But even when you look at the score, it was closer than that. It was 5 tries to 4. But the goal kicking, Reynolds kicked 7 from 7, and Rapana was kicking while Croker's out, and he got 2 from 4. So yeah, bad showing from the Raiders. Glad I tipped them. Yeah, anyone have anything on that game that they saw? Or
I can't always tell. I'm a little bit up and down with the Bunnies at the moment. Everyone sort of had raps on them to potentially be the premiers this year, and they are winning games, but yeah, it's hard to get a read on whether they're playing really well or the teams they're coming up against are just
We're
really
about to see just how well the Rabbitohs are going to go against tough teams in the next 4 weeks, because Reynolds is out, Latrell's out, but he comes back in maybe 1 or 2 weeks. And I think Wayne Bennett said it the other night, like they're just doing enough to win, like you said. I don't think they're top 4 this year.
It's very nice.
They've got the Storm tomorrow, so
it's very nice of Reynolds to fake an injury to put himself in cotton wool before he comes up to the Broncos next year. That's very nice of him.
Doesn't want to play the Storm.
Yeah. What kind of club signs a 30-year-old halfback? What was the other game?
We
never heard of Wally Lewis, mate.
Captain coach, Seagulls.
Yeah, how well does he go at that level?
Anywho, so yeah, final. There was a lot of tries in that game. Like I said, 9 tries. South's Alex Johnston got 2. Campbell Graham, Dane Gagai, and Jaden Sewer. Raiders Rapana, Whitehead, and Sebastian Chris. I might have missed one there, but anyway.
No, Rapana's got 2.
Oh yeah, that's right. He got 2. That's right. Anyway, the next game, Storms versus Sharks down in Melbourne. Once again, this was very tight up until half time, but Storm were terrible in that first half. I don't know. I really pitied Steve Kearney sitting next to Bellamy in the coach's box. Did you see him firing up? Like, he was having conniptions. And anyway, the Storm missed 20 tackles just in the first half. Like, that's insane. And they had they had a completion rate of around 60% up to halftime. That's just not Storm-like. But then the second half, completely different story. They just turned it on and you just couldn't stop scoring tries. And their completion rate at the end of the game was 85%. And that's almost like, they mustn't have made an error in that second half. I can't remember. But Remus Smith with a hat trick. Bellamy proves once again that he can just take an average player from a club and turn him into a superstar. I'm not calling Remus Smith a superstar, but he's looking fantastic.
Better than he was.
Yeah, so I don't know about that. Sharks 38 missed tackles as well, so it was just filthy looking game and lots of errors. But in the end, Storms came out and smashed them with tries in the second half. Like I said, Smith with the hat trick, Addo Carr, Tom Eisenhuth, Tui, what's his name? Kamikamilean. Jerome Hughes and Brandon Smith all with tries. For the Sharks, it was Brighton Nakora and Connor Tracy. Jerome Hughes, I just wanted to mention him. He was amazing in this game. He is an absolute underrated gun, and he's so strong for a little guy. You just saw him busting tackles and that. He took an awesome intercept as well, which set up a try. And for the Sharks, Brighton Nakora, did you see his try? I think it was the first one of the game, and he's just cut through a line and just ran about 30 meters and scored under the post or next to the post. And geez, it was good. I love seeing stuff like that. So yeah, anyone have anything on that game?
Crazy in that game, possession was 50-50.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they both had the same amount of ball, yet it's where obviously the Sharks lose it. The Storm end up finishing the game on 85%, and the Sharks were at 66% for the whole game.
Yeah.
That is
garbage.
That is garbage.
Yeah, they had every opportunity. There was a few moments. I know Dave is a big fan of Aaron Woods, but he keeps on trying to milk ruck penalties, and he's usually good at getting them. But I saw a few go against him, and he's getting caught out. It's great. It's great. Yeah, it is good. One of our big pet hates is seeing these big fellas just milk a ruck penalty. Yeah, no one at Brisbane's ever done it. No, definitely. I actually think the Sharks' first points, it was the first points of the game, penalty goal to the Sharks. I think that was off Aaron Wood's ruck penalty. Come to think of it, but it was garbage.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of it. You got to do what you got to do for your team, So good on him.
Good for you, Aaron.
Big Greg Bird fan as well.
Just on the Sharks, just a quick one. Do you think that their decision to fuck John Morris off halfway through the season, and knowing that they've got Fitzgibbon coming, and John Morris wasn't doing that bad, like they've kind of just now they've got that excuse, like to lay down. Like, why couldn't they have said to John Morris, "Look, we're signing Craig Fitzgibbon next year," because he's not a bad coach, John Morris. He got them into 8 last year. People forget that, with a pretty shit squad and like all the Bronson Cherry issues, all that type of stuff. But rather than going, "Hey mate, see it out, Fitzy's here next year," or whatever, they've gone, "No, you got the sack." Now you got Josh Hannay, who's like a fucking caretaker coach. Like, I don't see why they just wouldn't have let Josh Morris stay. And now I think they've got that excuse. So the players, if the players don't start putting in, they can go, "Well, you've kind of already given up on us this year by sacking our coach. We've got a caretaker coach. Like, we're looking forward to 2022. Do you know what I mean?"
Yeah, I do. Hodgie and I actually discussed this on episode 1 of the pod when it was just the two of us. And
pioneers.
The idea, the thing I thought was that if you're going to sack a coach mid-season, or you're going to declare there's a new coach next season, the Sharks aren't in a position where they're definitely finishing down the bottom of the ladder. So the club have to sack him right now, because what if he sends them on a winning run and they make finals and potentially make a grand final, potentially win a premiership, and they've already sacked him halfway through the year? It makes the club look ridiculous. So that's probably the reason why they wanted to get rid of him straight away, in my view.
Not the
I
first
guess
time
it
it's
kind of makes
happened
him
in a
look shit
season.
now.
It's not the first time it's happened in a season where a coach has been binned and the team have gone on to not do too much or not do too well. So the Sharks have got a lot of players that are off contract and had one to play well for the remainder of the season and put in, because I reckon Craig Fitzgibbon is going to come in and bin a lot of that team. Like I've already seen,
I agree.
Yeah.
Fifita hasn't had a run. Woods probably won't get a run next year. Dugan's talking about going to rugby. Dugan's doing that classic. No, they're not going to sack me. I'm going to leave.
Yeah,
Going to go
yeah.
to rugby. Like
100,
there's a lot of players.
He's got a habit of that.
You probably only put like 5 or 6 players on a piece of paper that I could think of that'll be there next year. And all these teams like the Bulldogs, Brisbane, the Cowboys, heaps of teams at the moment are making these big signings for next year. Have you guys heard of anyone going to Cronulla yet? All I'm hearing
Reynolds,
is
maybe.
Reynolds. When?
Yeah.
I know. All I'm hearing is
You're right.
all I'm hearing is SJ's like Sean Johnson's been getting farmed around. Chad Townsend's going to win a premiership next year with the Cowboys. Like all these players are leaving, and there's.
Is he playing juniors? Do they have an under 20s team or something? Okay.
Ooh.
I shot my shot.
You got Will Chambers.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. It's like, I mean,
Will Chambers, yeah.
Yeah, going back, looking at the Broncos situation again, they don't, everyone's wondering what's going to happen with their team. Every player's been linked to them, but as bad as they are, the Sharks aren't as bad as the Broncos, but no one's linked to the Sharks, like you said. Like,
yeah,
except for Adam Reynolds. Adam Reynolds is linked.
Yeah,
he'll be
a Bronco.
It's pretty nuts, actually. If you look through their squad, they don't have a lot happening as it is. So if Sean Johnson leaves, Chad Townsend's gone, Woods is probably on his way out. They've sort of only really got Wade Graham, who is a legitimate name, and the rest of them are sort of like Aiden Tileman, and you got they got a young squad, and they got some decent guys like William Kennedy and whatnot, but they don't have much to offer, especially if you look at the Sharks 3-4 years ago. It's a different team.
You got Matt Moylan.
Yeah, but he's
like that loser.
The guy who played fullback on the wing, what's his name? Kennedy?
Yeah.
He looks pretty good. So
no, Kennedy's fullback.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, sorry. I think Tracy's that.
Yeah, Connor Tracy
was on the winger. He's good.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, who's next? I think the next game, probably game of the round.
Can't wait for this.
Yep. So next game, you said game of the round.
Yeah.
I'd arguably say game of the history.
How long's he got?
Else.
You got 3
game of the
minutes.
century. Game of the century. Calling it now.
Yeah, let's put a timer on this.
With 79 years to go, it was game of the century.
Look, I'll my time to speak, so shut up for a while. So just look, is it one of the best Broncos comebacks? Oh, it is obviously the best Broncos comeback, but look, it was entertaining. Everyone saw that. But there's massive problems with defense. Broncos still 15 minutes in, they were down 22-0. Titans were fucking leaking tries like, every 5 minutes, but it was because Broncos, I know it was scrappy, but they just needed a win, and they got a win, and it happened to be a massive comeback, which is pretty good. The funny thing about it is Jermaine Osako, who was pretty instrumental with our attack, put some big plays on and set up a few of our tries. He was also a massive reason we were losing. I don't know if you noticed. So he was out of position.
He was out of position. Yeah.
Yeah. Caught out twice. A couple of shitty mistakes. that type of stuff. But look, he showed resilience. He came back to just steer the guys back into a win. But the Titans, they had 94% completion rate. We had 84. So they had a pretty good completion rate, but they just couldn't. I don't know what it was. They lost a bit of sting or whatever. But Tavita Pangai Jr., he had a pretty good game. Like he doesn't get a lot of songs, but he's leading the offload count in the NRL. Not many people know that. So he's leading the offload count in the NRL.
Try
And not many
assist as
people,
well.
yeah, and he did the week before too. And not many people know Broncos are actually leading the comp in offloads, and we're also leading in missed tackles, but that's a different stuff. But, look, I won't spend too long on it, but I think it was really good to see Tyson Gamble come in and play half. He wasn't Sam Walker, this fucking freak throwing 60-meter cutout balls to the tip, but like he was solid. Like he's a big body. He put his body on the line in defense. He just was pretty basic, and he gave room to Milford.
But he's confident too.
Yeah, he is. And look, and you guys saw it. We all saw it. He borderline got arrogant and got like way too egotistical, and was in Brimson's face when he milked that penalty for he went to the Simian. But you know what? If he's doing that for my team, fucking go nuts, mate. Go all fucking day. Like I don't.
That's
mind
one
that,
of the things is everyone always, and I did it 100%. Was going on about like saying he's like acting like a wanker and all that sort of stuff.
You were having the biggest whinge in the group chat about Gamble.
I was.
Talking about Luai or Gamble now.
But it's the same. It's the thing that, like, obviously, if they're playing your team, you always turn a blind eye to it. But even with everything said, if that's the thing that's going to win games for you, that's how you need to act, and you need to do that to get yourself up to play well, then
Well, one of the things that Kevy said about Gamble, as soon as he came into training, he took the lead and he was running the show from the halves, and that's what Broncos have been lacking. They've been rotating 3 regular halves in Milford, Croft, and Dearden, and Dearden is probably the best team runner out of the 3 of them, and he's 19, and even still, he probably just doesn't have that confidence level. Gamble has come in and just owned that team, and you could see the difference in their attack. There was none of this pissing about on 5th tackles, wondering what to do next and everything. And it made Milford better because it gave him, the ability to just do what he does best, which is concentrate on his own game and react to what's in front of him, because that's how he plays his best. He shouldn't be running a team because he needs to just play what's in front of him.
That guy's a little bit old too, hey? Is that right?
I think he's mid-20s. Yeah, 23, 24.
Yeah.
He's a Q Cup specialist. Come through. Yeah. I think he was at the West Tigers originally. Not much chop, but look, I don't think he's the be all and end all. I still think, and Stock, you probably agree, we still need to sign a marquee half, 100%. But definitely. I think until that happens for the rest of this year, brilliant, and he can do it. And it really highlighted too that for me that Jermaine Osako is not a fullback. Like, he's a great winger. He's a fucking really good winger, an unbelievably good ball runner with the ball, but he just still lapses a few things in defence. And I never see him backing up like a Pappenhausen or a Tedesco. He's never in there backing up. But like, for now, that's fine. But I think next year we get that half sorted out, get that fullback sorted out, and we could go back-to-back grand finals after we win this year, and next year once we sign, the rest, some new halves and that, it could be.
It's going to be weird winning.
Could be a good couple of years, yeah.
It's going to be weird winning a second one with like a whole new team next
year.
year.
Anyways, that's all I got on the Bronx, man.
Yeah, well, you mentioned marquee half, and it's like I said last week. Stags is going to be wearing number 6 next year. This is the news that I'm getting, and he's just signed on today for 4 years. So he's a Bronco until the end of 2025. So that's really good news for the Broncos. Not sure how he's going to go at 6, but I mean that's what's happening now.
Look, I don't think he shouldn't play there this year. If he comes back this year, I think he should come back slowly in the centres. That's my opinion.
I don't think we'll see him this year.
Well, I think his return was meant to be round 12. That was his like expected. But yeah, like fuck, if you want to put him on ice and like wait for next year,
well.
that's not a
this,
bad
this
idea.
is a write-off. Even just park him down at South's Logan for a few games or something, just to get him back. Even a bit of practice at Q Cup level, playing 6 would be good. We're forgetting as well that we've got Carmichael Hunt on the books now too. So.
Hodgie,
mate,
Hodgie, do you want to go? We'll let
tale.
these two keep talking, Hodgie. Or?
Yeah. Just turn in the fucking Broncos podcast.
Sorry.
South Logan getting mentions now.
Yeah.
All right. Next game. Next game. Oh fuck, that's me too. Manly, Manly Penny. All right. I'm switched on. All right, so I got home.
The funny thing, wait, sorry, before you start, Dave. The thing about that Manly Penny game is that it reminded me a lot of the Broncos Titans game on Friday night. Do you want to talk a bit about that? Or?
Shut the fuck up.
Get a bit of Conan and Max going on here.
Sorry, that was just the worst lead. So Manly Penrith. Look, I watched the whole game when I come home today, and I thought I was going to fall asleep. But you know what? It was actually a really good quality game. It made me ask a few questions. Like it just made me think of like Ivan Cleary. I said it fucking again. Nathan Cleary. He's the real deal at halfback. Like he at his age, that head on his shoulders is fucking. He's impressive. Like I can't throb him enough. Like but it's you start to think now about Brian Toho. Like you're looking at, he had a really really good game, and he's stringing together good games week after week after week, and he's racking up massive stats and massive runs. And he's reminding me of a bit of a Matty Utai type of low center of gravity winger. And they're talking about Origin, and I wouldn't mind seeing. Like I mean, I'm not in New South Wales, but I wouldn't think he'd be out of place. Do you know what I mean? Like he's not scared to come in, take those big runs, help out. And I think it's not a bad idea. If New South Wales pick, I know this is getting off track, but if New South Wales pick Jerome Luai, Nathan Cleary, Toho wouldn't look too bad on the wing. But anyways, back to the game. It was pretty tight. I know Penny won, and they've won 300 and fucking like a year without losing a football game. And that's the thing is they find a way to win every single week, no matter what. They just find a way to win. So like with 3 minutes ago, Manly were in it. They were in it. They were only, like a playoff coming back. There was a pretty good grubber that got put in. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong here, was it Fisher Harris or one of the props that tapped it back? And they got that try. It was really good try. It was pretty lucky. But I thought Manly like really gave it to them. Like they just grinded it out and they held in. And so this sounds weird, but I think it's a good loss for Manly, and I think it's a scrappy win for Penrith. But at the end of that, still a win. So Penrith have got that winning culture, and they just keep fucking winning week in, week out, finding a way to win. And it was pretty good for Manly. I only just lost to the top of the table team, and yeah, so good signs from what I saw.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, we're going to touch on Origin predictions next week, but I think you're 100% right. New South Wales will be mad if they don't pick Toho.
I don't know. I think he's just a bit sketchy under the highball and stuff. I don't know whether he's. I think he needs to probably.
Yeah, but New South Wales aren't going to have. But New South Wales aren't going to have Mitch Pearce kicking to him every set. So.
No, but Queensland will have someone kicking to Xavier Coates, who is a bit of a throbber in the air. He's pretty good under the high ball. So,
which is exactly why
I think he's pretty overrated, Coates.
There's nothing wrong with.
I've never really liked him.
There's nothing wrong with Brian going into the New South Wales camp and giving him a game, but I reckon if I was New South Wales and I was Brad Fittler, is that your coach, Brad or Laurie Daly or Gus Gould? Yeah, what Ricky Short. So whoever it is, wankers. You got to win that first game, and then if you win it, play him.
Does anyone know where the first game is this year?
Man.
22 years old.
I don't know.
The first game is Victoria or MCG?
No, there's a game in Perth this year.
Yeah, I think I won Perth.
Or is it Adelaide this year? Was that last year?
No, it was last year. Sydney, Brisbane.
It's a It's a big gamble with Toto on the wing, especially you just said under the high ball, which is a good point. Do you guys remember Anthony Quinn back in the day, the fucking Knights winger who used to rip and tear? Like, he was a good runner, and this is going back maybe 13 years ago, like late 2000s, but he played wing for New South Wales, and Queensland had this pretty good player who could jump called Israel Folau, and I don't know if you remember, but he jumped all fucking over Anthony Quinn that night. I think he scored one of the most iconic tries, and that was on Anthony Quinn. So that didn't, the gamble didn't pay it off. I know it's a weird comparison, but
I'm pretty sure Anthony Quinn still has Greg Inglis's palm print on his face too after that game.
Yeah,
that was bad. That was real bad.
For New South Wales. Yeah. Anyway, Origins chat next week. Want to go on to the next game? It was Para
Doggies.
Oh God, I freaking drew the short straw with these fucking games.
You picked him.
Oh, I know. Worst.
Just give me your own picks.
I thought you would have picked Penny for yourself for sure.
Well, I didn't want to be biased. I don't know how everyone feels about my bias towards them, so I'll let someone else talk about them. So we got it's so annoying because he just drives me nuts. But Gutho was honestly just unbelievable. He was probably the player of the round. He scored 2 tries, ran for 261 meters, and made 3 line breaks, which was, he pretty much topped nearly every attacking thing for the whole team, for both teams actually. DWZ came back and essentially had 0 impact whatsoever. Playing on the wing, could probably argue that he played his best footy at fullback. Reece Marnie, honestly, his service from hooker is possibly the best in the league as far as accurate passes. Nearly every single one of them hits them on the tits every single time, and they're 10, 20, 25 meter passes. I feel like he's probably started fairly slow. I don't know who he's on. I don't know. Is he Queensland or New South Wales?
Yeah, he's not going to get in front of Harry Grant, but fucking hell, if
is
Harry
he
Grant
Queensland? Is he?
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought you said Reed Money, yeah, from Para.
Yeah.
Yeah,
true. So, obviously he's not going to get ahead of him. But I mean,
like Harry's not.
If he does get injured
either. So.
Reed Marnie's a weapon, man.
Yeah.
Reed Marnie is a weapon. He's not spoken about enough.
No, not at all. And it wasn't probably until I really, obviously I had to watch this game closely because I was going to talk about it. But when you watch him closely, he is just across the park, especially as a hooker. Like defensively, doesn't miss tackles. No. I said his service from hooker is unbelievable.
You were at my place that night. We watched that Canterbury Para game, and
yeah.
I think I looked up Reed Marnie's a couple of times made 70 odd tackles a game.
Yeah, he's an absolute machine. I think he plays close to 80 minutes. I don't know if someone else comes on from that hooker, to be honest, but he's just
in headgear too, so he runs hot.
They're 14. He's hot as fuck. They're 14's Will Smith, I'm pretty sure.
I didn't say he was hot.
He doesn't have that.
No, I did.
Cool.
I don't think Will Smith gets much game time. I don't even know whether he played. I don't think he even played. No, he didn't. So their bench is all forwards. They don't hold anyone to take that hooker spot. So he plays 80 minutes, which is insane, especially with the workload he gets through. It's ridiculous. He actually did. He played 80 minutes, yeah.
I reckon you could easily see him breaking into the Maroons team this year. And as a starter,
he has to be in the conversation.
I reckon he'll start with Harry on the bench.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I think it's possible, but because I think, who's the better hooker? Harry's better. Harry's better.
But Harry's at club level coming off the bench.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But he's coming.
No,
He's coming
no,
back from an MCL.
Oh, sometimes he is, but
No,
Harry
he's
this
not
week.
now. He's not. Now.
Yeah, Harry this week and last week and this week as well is starting hooker and Hectic Cheese.
Brandon
Cheese
Smith
game.
went.
Hectic
Oh,
Cheese,
yeah,
if
he's
you're
playing
listening,
lock.
bro. Yeah, he's playing long.
Anyway, yeah, so
don't we have a
obviously,
celebrity
Para-
follower now, bro?
14 million coming for you, Joe.
son of a bitch. So yeah, obviously like Parapet 32 on the Dogs. The Dogs, honestly, like they don't have the greatest squad, but one of the biggest things two things that came out of that game. Dylan Napa, honestly, he was only like recently a rep player and killing, well, I wouldn't say killing it, but playing fairly well with the Roosters. He goes to think, at one point, I think it was just before halftime, they were only 10-0 down, and I think it was Moses had kicked the ball out on the full. So they were going to get the ball back on about the 30 or 40 metre line.
The latest hit.
Napa comes through, the latest, most ridiculous hit on his legs. It's going to be penalty. And then Paris score off the back of that. So instead of having the ball in their half with only being behind
16
by 10
nil half time.
points,
Yeah.
instead they flip it around. They get that stupid penalty. Parry get the ball. I think it was nearly a 40-20 something. It was around the 20 metre line, and then score off the back of that. And then
Killer.
and then the other one. I wish I could show you how I wrote this guy's name down, but it's C.U. Manafenai.
Yeah.
C.U. Manafenai. Put this massive hit on lane. It was probably like one of the biggest hits of the year. Caused a mistake. And what did they do? So it was a knock on. So it went to a scrum. They one pass off the scrum, and Parramatta, I can't remember who it was, but gathered whoever had the ball up 10 metres out and push him back into his in goal, and it's a dropout. It's like, that's why you're losing. Like, yes, you probably don't have the best squad out of everyone or all the other teams going around, but like these teams that are not going well tend to have like the shittest attitudes of all the teams going around. Because like we look at Penrith, for instance, they've got one of the youngest teams out of the whole competition. But you look at the stuff of like, obviously it's only been the last couple of years where they've really tightened up their attitude and discipline and stuff. But look what happens when you do that. And you got these teams like Dylan Napa, who should be, I'm assuming, would be in some sort of leadership group in that team. Just doing shit like that. And then you got Kyle Flanagan, who just like, I don't even know how many times he touched the ball in that game. And if he did, it was to put in a shit kick or something. Like, it's just absolute rubbish. So yeah, the Dogs look terrible again. And Para, I mean, they look pretty good, but against a fucking terrible team. Chooks vs Knights. I was actually surprised at this game. Obviously, the scoreline's 38-4, so it was a big win for the Chooks. But both teams completed 83%, which you don't really see too often in a game that's such a big points difference. And they had the same amount of sets. So they had the same amount of sets and they both completed.
But you look at the attack, all the stats are with Roosters. If you're looking at the NRL,
that's the thing. Yeah, like you look at their all-run meters, they run an extra 400 meters. Their post-contact meters nearly 100 more meters. Doubled their line breaks. 9 more tackle breaks. But then you look at the defensive side, like the Knights missed 30 tackles, which, I mean, when you're playing against the Roosters, it's just not. You can't be missing that. Like stats are pretty. Sam Walker was just like, for someone, I think he's like 19 or 18 or 19.
Played 5 games, man. Yeah,
insane. And I actually heard a thing with Corey Norman the other day. He was saying when they played him, it was on Anzac Day. He ran at the field and didn't even realise that he was who he was. He reckons he's obviously a small dude, but looks way smaller in person. Yet he said
Smaller
the
than
whole
you.
game. Bro, fucking serious? Are you fucking serious? Apparently the whole game he was just into every single player. Like you got people like Joe Barry Hargraves and stuff that have played over 200 plus games. All these in the Roosters squad, they got a shitload of experience. And apparently, the whole game he was just into them, consistently screaming for the ball, telling the forwards where they wanted to go and everything. So I mean, you look at someone like him who's played, was it like 5 games or something?
Yeah, 5 games.
And look who he took over in Flanagan, and now Flanagan's gone to the Bulldogs. You can kind of see why. At the time when everyone said, "Oh, Flanagan's leaving the Roosters,"
yeah,
maybe that's why. Maybe that's because he was planning around a lot of good people, and those people were making him look a little bit better. But then you got this young guy that comes in and is killing it.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, I mean, I'd love to see Sam Walker in a team that's, you know, a Broncos or a Bulldogs. You know what I mean? Like, so he's got the he's got the weapons around him. You know, every player in that Roosters squad. I know there's a lot of injuries, but there's a lot of internationals, and I just don't get how they have all these injuries and they've still got that massive winning culture. So I think it's a great move.
Sombrero's big.
Well,
yeah, so much depth.
Yeah.
So much.
It's great move going there.
James actually got a hat trick. It's insane. There's Morris, but I mean, obviously, unfortunate for Brett, potentially out. Maybe a career-ending injury, but
we'll talk about him later. Yeah.
Crazy that both of those guys are arguably at the end of their seasons and potentially in career best form. Ponga, I don't know what's going on with him at the moment. I don't know whether he's like down on confidence or whether it's the team or whatever.
No,
but
no. I said it last week. Sorry to cut in. He's rocks and diamonds, and he's diamonds when he's got space in open field, and he's got Safidi and Frizzell and those guys running forward hard. But good teams, he does this thing close to the line in the last line of defense, and he just sort of shoulders someone. Like, you're there to tackle someone. Like, he's a bit of a speed bump in defense, and
his one-on-one defense is
shot. It's shot.
So bad.
But I would run
defense, it. I think when in attack, because they don't have the I personally thought Blake Graham was a fairly consistent, decent player. I don't know whether come back from his injury or whatever it is. Doesn't seem to be the same. But you got Kurt Mann and Blake Green in the halves, which I don't think either of them are really overly creative. So I think when they get the ball, it's almost like, give it to Ponga and he'll do something.
Yeah, you're exactly
something
right.
Crazy.
Man. You're exactly right.
And it's not working at all.
It's not. Sorry, yeah, it's not just. I just to disagree with Brad. Sorry, but I don't think it's not Ponga's fault. He's in a shit side. If he 100% was a fullback at Melbourne or a fullback at Roosters, he would absolutely carve up, because at the moment there's no creativity. So they go, fuck Ponga, I hope you can create something for someone else or create something yourself. But if he was at 100%, if he was at the Roosters, like Tedesco when he was at the Tigers and went there, like, he would shine, he would build, he would come out. So I reckon you watch in 2 years, I reckon he'll probably leave.
Yeah.
He'll engage that thing in his contract, and he's a fucking idiot if he comes to Brisbane or somewhere that's rebuilding. If he should go to an established club.
I agree with you in the attack side, but I don't like his defense. His one-on-one defense is almost inexcusable. Like, if any team makes a break through the line and it's him against them, I've seen him be burnt on the outside probably 3 or 4 times this year, and he's quick as fuck. So,
yeah, I know.
Even if he's got a solid, if he's got a solid hit, I think it even happened on the weekend against a Roosters player. He went to go around the legs, and it was just like
too much is
shit.
Too much is his attack is too hyped up. But let's talk about the games, the scores and the games.
All right, what's the next?
Hang on, wait. I got one more
sorry.
thing about this fucking Knights game. It pisses me off to no end. Why does every single player, I don't know whether it's like this generational player that's coming through and they don't know the rule or whatever, but if you're trying to kill the ball in goal, just fucking ground the ball. These dipshits trying to like take big air swings as they're falling to try and knock the ball 20 meters over the dead ball line and missing it and giving away fucking tries happens.
Matt Duffy's a pro
all the time.
He's done it a lot.
It's unbelievable.
You know, the other rule that they always never seem to know is jumping from outside the field and then touching the ball before you land in field. Like, I reckon I see that so often. Like, it's textbook stuff. I don't get why people don't know the rules of the game they've been playing literally their whole lives.
It's ridiculous. It makes no sense.
They're footballers though. Like, let's face it, they went to school to eat their lunch and play football. So
yeah. On the flip side, Blake Ferguson, apparently he's like a junkie on the rules and everything. You remember last year he
just want to touch the ball as long as it's still rolling. Yeah, which I actually didn't even know about. So
so he got him a restart up the field. But anyway,
they're my two games.
Moving on now, we got Warriors Cowboys with the B-Rad.
So quickly, the Cowboys went down 24-20 against the Warriors, gave up a massive lead again in the first half, and it fucking stings my tits because we've done it all year, and we got lucky against the fucking Raiders, the only team aside from the Broncos that I love beating, and it's like then we're chasing our tails in the second half, like 70 minutes, 10 minutes to go, chasing our tails. And then Valentine Holmes has missed 2 kicks, so we're 4 points down. Could be even. Who knows what's going to happen? Interesting stat though from the game. Total run meters from both teams, 3,692. Crowd, 3,350. So good teams get the big crowds. But
what'd you say that attendance was?
3,692.
Oh yeah.
Total run meters was 3,350 both teams. So massive crowd.
Not playing it again.
But yeah, Cowboys got Broncos this week, and just quickly, we'll get into that later on. But very, very disappointing because that game we could have had in the bag. But good news through the week. We'll get into that as well. And then the last game I thought was absolute dog shit was Dragons v Tigers, and the Dragons was so disappointing, man. But I do like what Anthony Griffin has done with the Dragons, and it's they've lost Trent Merrin, which I think is pretty big.
Good.
Great player, great best footwork in the comp apparently, and yeah, that game the Tigers showed, I wouldn't say resilience, but like Leilua went through the dying stages of that game and like sloppy edge defense by the Dragons. Dufty went missing that game. Ben Hunt was back from his fractured leg and played okay. I thought Anthony McCulloch was really, really good as always, like just consistent. But Adam Dewey, 5'8" for the Tigers. Like where did he come from? Like he's
it wasn't the wrist. The bunny, sorry.
I know where he came from, just a figure of speech. But he's running
literally.
His running game, like as a 5'8", he's got one of the best running games in the comp. But it's just a shame he I don't know, like he's a big frame for a 5'8", but he was good. It was good to see Joey Leilua come back and play well defensively. His try was good, but his reads in defense were good.
He actually made 2 fairly critical errors though with his timing of his runs. I don't know if it's I don't really know whose fault it is, whether it's his because he's overrunning the ball and getting forward passes, but that happened like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. What do you think of that kid on the wing, Joe Dirt, bloody lookalike?
I liked it, man.
Zaxini?
He had 1 try disallowed. Crowd went nuts, and then
he had like half the crowd there for him. I don't believe that.
Fast forward, and he scored a try, and then the camera went to the crowd. There were shirts off. I love that.
Man, do you know the thing that I loved about it? There was like, literally like 8 rows of people just like his fan club. So he must have a bit of a cult following. And there was this one dude in a Dragons jersey just sitting there like.
I was a big fan. He
at one point in that game, he made a break, and instead of watching him make a break, they went up to the crowd. They were filming the crowd, and it's like, get back on the plane.
Yeah,
it was good. It was good.
I think the commentators even mentioned that. It was just like, what are you filming the crowd for?
But both pretty ordinary games in that the Warriors played, I think, pretty well. Nikorima's, I think he's gotten better. RTS was relatively quiet for RTS, but the Cowboys are pretty good through Drinkwater. Jake Granville created a fair bit, and Taumalolo had an okay game, but I mean, he's just fractured both.
What about Reece Walsh at first ever game at 5'8" ever in the NRL? How did he go?
Yeah, he went pretty good.
I'll rate Drinky, hey.
Cool story. All right. Well, I guess that wraps up the round. Cool. I guess that wraps up the round then. I've put that label on Sini now. He is officially Joe Dirt. So if Beak steals that for bloke in a bar,
I bet you said it this morning.
Yeah, guaranteed he did. Anywho, next on the list, we've got this junior development / salary cap sanctions issue, not an issue, but theory, idea that's been floated by the new Broncos CEO. So obviously he is of the opinion that clubs that develop juniors from, grassroots levels or whatever and get them into the club should be allowed some sort of salary cap relief to retain them at the club. I've been a bit mixed on this. I was very for it to begin with, and I've sort of done a bit more research now, and I'm not 100% sure where I stand on it now, but you guys go ahead. I think, Hodgie, you've got a bit to say on this too.
I just think that, why should you get a leg up in front of other teams just because you brought someone up through your junior ranks? Like, I get that you're investing time and stuff into players, but if you don't manage your cap properly and you can't fit all of these good players under your cap, why should you get compensated?
But that's not what it's about at all, in my view.
It is about that.
No, but it's not. It's about developing the game at lower levels, and there's clubs that are doing that, and it'd be nice for them to be able to retain those players. Yes, you can't do it, obviously. Players get poached. It's just the nature of the game. But what irks me is that there's a number of clubs that just have no interest in developing junior levels of footy, and they're just happy to poach. And good on them for having the money and the salary cap now to be able to do that. But invest in your game. That, if you don't invest into the lower levels, then we don't have a game. That's my standpoint on it.
This is where I disagree a little bit. Like, I think that every single club invests somewhat into, like, it's not like how it was in the 80s and 90s and whatever, where you're investing is your area. So like the Penrith area or the Parramatta area or the Brisbane area. You look at the Roosters and where they're situated, they don't have that sort of population where they have a shitload of young talent to pick from. So
that's why they're Pacific Islanders.
But they're still investing. They're just not investing in their area. So it's the same as the Storm. The Storm invest heavily in Queensland and in that quote unquote Broncos territory. So every single team is investing in those junior development. What I don't agree with is that you can't develop, say, I've invested all this money in this young person, and then he's come up and we can't afford to pay him what he's worth, so we should get compensated because his other team wants to come in now and take him. Well,
yeah,
sorry.
I agree with you on the sense that yeah, it comes down to salary cap management and everything. And yes, it very much it's affected my team, and so I've got a bit of bias on this. However, what I'm talking about is getting that relief. I think encourages teams to develop more into their juniors. Storm, for example, have never really put any effort into developing into the Victorian area. And the argument would be that Victorian kids want to play AFL, they don't want to play NRL, but they've got the most successful team of the last 20 years in Victoria.
Because they manage their roster right, that's why. They manage their roster right.
But that's not what I'm talking about, Hodgie. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about why they're successful. I'm talking about how the opportunity has been there for them to say, hey, Melbourne kids, you've got the best NRL team in the country here. Why don't you come along and play and we'll pump money into you? And I think
but tell me this, when you were living in Melbourne and
there wasn't a team when I was living in. There wasn't a team when I was there.
But even if there was, this is what I'm saying. It's like you have AFL supporters are probably some of the most fanatical, definitely in Australia, but probably compete in the world. I
know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say is that there's just not going to be interest from the kids, but there's not at the start. That's why it's a development thing. They've been there for 25 years. This is what I mean, is that they've had 25 years to make that. Look at on the flip side where AFL has invested into Sydney and Brisbane and areas like that and been successful. And so the Giants in the AFL, they've got Western Sydney, which is rugby league heartland, and they are pumping so much money into AFL development. The kids are starting to, want to play AFL instead.
But I think if you look at the numbers, I think you'll find that the rugby league participation in Melbourne is way higher now than it was in 1995.
Oh yeah, of course it would be, but at the same time, they could have done a much better job. And what I'm saying is that if they did allow some sort of relief on developing your own juniors, then that might incentivize the Storm to put more money into Victorian Rugby League. And, it's just a thought.
My only thing is with that is you're essentially giving a geographical advantage an advantage to teams that have that geographical advantage.
Spider.
So if you have the teams like Melbourne who would have to invest more money into junior development and still probably not get the amount of players as, say, Brisbane, North Queensland, Penrith. But then even if you look into the Sydney teams, look at how many Sydney teams there are and how many people they're going to have to divvy up between each team. I just don't see how it's a fair and good system to work off. Because one, every single rule that ever gets brought in with the NRL, clubs find a way of dodging it up. Yeah. And two, I just don't see that teams should be advantaged purely off the base of but I think that about Penrith, they've got one of the biggest junior systems in the league. I don't think they should get compensated for bringing up things, because then where does the line end? Is there a cap on how much compensation you get?
Well, there would be.
Do they end up with? But to what extent? You know what I mean? So Penrith have I don't know what the cap is anymore, but they have 15 of their top 23 or whatever it is that they've developed in their juniors. So what, they get cap compensation for that, so they can go buy marquee players and whatnot. I don't know.
But that's the thing, is that the cap compensation idea is always there's a limit on it. Look, you can only get so much. That's the whole idea. But anyway. Yeah, Dave and Brad, you've clearly got big opinions on this.
Yeah. Fucking hell, man. Like, where do I start? Nah, look.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right if you don't have anything to say on the matter. It doesn't matter.
Look, I can see 100% Hodgie's opinion, and I'm pretty in line with what Hodgie's saying too, if I'm being honest. But I can see exactly what you're saying as well, Al, and I just don't know if there's a black and white fix. So I guess it's just one of those things that the NRL just need to keep an eye on, and when and if it's not out of hand or out of control, like Dave Donahue come out. I think he was just a bit sooky that we've lost a couple of players that he says we've developed.
Big statement for his first week in the job, wasn't it?
He also started that sentence by saying, "This isn't an excuse for the state that we're currently in," but
correct. But I mean,
it's
interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting that one of his first statements in the role is to even speak about it. Fucking. Don't even speak about it. Like, don't even just go. And just worry about your own shit and your own fence. He's got a lot. He has to worry about at Brisbane to start kind of maybe throwing or slinging shit at other people in clubs. That's just
Agreed.
I don't think it was that bad per se. Like, I don't think he's slinging shit at other clubs or whatnot. But I get exactly what I understand what you mean. It was a bit of a big left field statement.
My opinion
on day one.
The media has taken it out of control, and and then after that, people start talking about it, like big, NRL 360, the Catch and Pass podcast, like, and the other, like people start to.
I don't listen to that.
To give it traction. No, 360 shit, mate.
My opinion on the poaching and the rest of the situation regarding clubs, juniors, is it's all about loyalty. It's a business. Like, if someone doesn't want to work for Coles and Woolworths are offering better conditions and a better gym and more oranges at training, and that player wants to go, do it. If that club, like, you've got two supermarkets and one of them's Woolworths and one of them's Coles. I'm a Coles person personally. Too bad. Brother. Too bad.
Yeah, I am now. I've changed. I've changed.
Fuck Woolies.
Aldi, mate.
Just quiet down, Audi. It's a business. The NRL is a business, and these people are signing contracts for their life. And I heard, Daly Terry Evans was like, I looked after me when he famously backflipped on the Gold Coast Titans. And he's like, it's a business. It's a business. And so whoever wants to poach, whatever you're going to call it, you want to go in and take clubs away. And who signed for the Storm? Xavier Coates.
Yeah.
And not yet, but
and all that. Like, it is a cash business. Like, clubs can go in and take players can go to clubs because of their coaches, and vice versa. And who's got the best legs club? I'm all for it. I don't care.
That's what I think. I just like, it's what it is. It's like, if
that's right.
Yeah.
We got Scott Drinkwater today, so who gives a shit?
What about the flip side? Not juniors, veterans. Like, for example, in the Adam Reynolds situation, and he is a junior as well. He is a South junior as well. He's played his whole.
His family lived in the change rooms. Like, he's part of that club.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, and
it goes back to what you're saying though. It's a business. So if he's not playing his best footy and he's not worth the money that they're paying, then.
Yeah, but do you think that they would offer him more money if there was a salary cap sanction for a veteran of his, service to the club?
But there's not.
But again, why should they be allowed to?
Yeah, but I'm just spitballing here. It's just if.
My thing is, clubs should get a salary cap advantage, because the reason there's a salary cap is to even out the competition. So you can't get advantages and get subsidies on your salary cap, whether for any player, for any reason. That's my opinion.
Okay. Cool.
So, gonna move on, or?
Yeah, for sure. It's time for top centers. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Who's up first? Well, we've as I explain every week, we're picking our top 3 players of each position in the rugby league team. We've done fullbacks and wingers, and this week we're up to centers. So, yeah, who wants to go first?
I want to go last because I might change one on the run.
Yeah, so I've got about 40. I've got about 40 blokes who are sitting equal fourth here.
So I'll start it off, and I'll throw down my in no particular order.
Like every week.
I didn't like him that much as a player, and this goes to show just how unbiased I am in my opinions of players. And just because of his constant haggling to the ref, playing the whistle, not the ball, but undisputedly one of the best centers, I think, was Jamie Lyon.
Oh, yeah.
Goal
true.
kick,
Yeah.
goal kick
Yeah,
in
true.
in the peak of his career, like that. You remember that Manly Melbourne era of like fierce rivalry and like grand
Yeah.
finals back and forth. Like Jamie Lyon, man, like Parramatta can say what they want about him. But
He was at his best for Weeble Panthers, man.
yeah, he was a gun. Jamie Lyon was a gun, and someone that reminds me a lot of him. A bit smaller in stature, probably the same pace, but is Jared Croker. But I just don't like Jared Croker because he's a whinger. The next guy I got is Harry Wells. Like debuted for South in 1952. No, I'm just kidding. But that's a true story. He did. I've got Mark Gasnier. Like it was hard to put him by himself. I wanted to see if I could go Mark Gasnier and Matt Cooper together, but I went Mark Gasnier just because Gasnier. Like I'm sure if I'd been around and seen him, his dad would be on that list. Excuse me, that list as well. But I wasn't around. But yeah, Gasnier. Gasnier just didn't let you down. And
longevity too.
Yeah, played some games. Australia, New South Wales, and number 2 before his positional change, Inglis, Greg Inglis.
Yeah,
my 3.
That's fair.
Gasnier, I've thrown Lyon in as a smoky, but if you've got time, just go Google his name and check out his career. He's pretty impressive.
I'm quite surprised about that Lyon call, but as soon as you said his name, I was like, oh, true, yeah.
So I couldn't split number 3 for me, and Jamie Lyon was one of mine. Split on level 3. I bitched out, so I've actually picked 4 players. So equal third is Jamie Lyon for those exact reasons you said. He just came out every week, and he like the look of the bloke. You know, you look at centers these days, and Inglis was probably one of the first ones who just had that absolute athletic frame. These giant guys who were so quick and so agile. And Jamie Lyon was like this short, dumpy looking bloke who looked like looked like a little fat bloke that who'd talk himself up at the pub. But he had no, but the difference between Lyon though and me though is that he had game, and he could absolutely back it up, and he produced such amazing stuff, and it used to piss me off.
It did
when he played against us because I would look at him and say, this guy should not be able to do that, and he can. But anyway, so I've got him.
Goal kick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and anyway, and the guy, like, he was so good that New South Wales had to beg him to play. Remember, because he's got family issues. He's got family issues with his kids, and he didn't want to be away at camp for 2 weeks and stuff like that. And so he kept on ruling himself out of Origin and then begging him to play because that's how good he was.
Because
also tough times. Tough times to South Wales.
Who did they need him to mark? There was someone. Was it I remember the write-up in the paper, like, we need Lyon back because this guy's going to run rampant. Like Queensland's opposite centre. Who was it? Anyway.
Was it GI when?
I think it was GI. Like it was early doors GI. I think it was. Right into the start of our 8 series.
But it quite easily could have been this next bloke who I've put equal with Jamie Lyon, Justin Hodges. He absolute superstar for 2 clubs and for Queensland and for Australia. The guy could not be stopped from dummy half.
Motherfucker, hey? Take that back. He was good for
one grand final.
He was not good for Roosters.
Premiership player for the Roosters.
Premiership, won a grand final.
Scumbag.
Arguably the Roosters' greatest centre of all time. Keep going, Stocks.
And I tell you what, if he had played in that 03 grand final, Scott Sattler wouldn't have fucking come near him. Anyway.
Well, he wouldn't have because he wasn't on the wing.
Anyway. So yeah, Hodges equal with Lyon, but the thing that was so magical about Godges was the scoop, man. Every time you saw him get into dummy half, I reckon the opposition defense would just start crying because they're thinking, fuck, what are we going to do now? Because they just couldn't, he just couldn't be stopped. Hodgie, I know you fucking hated that because, you're just like, you used to say it every week. It's just like, you see him at dummy half, he's going to scoot, do something about it, and they just couldn't stop him.
Arguably the best dummy half scooter of all time.
Yeah. And so Godges,
Are we still in number 3?
Yes. Number 2, GI.
Hurry up, motherfucker.
Number 2, GI, before he went to centre. I was reluctant to pick him because I ruled him out of the fullbacks 2 weeks ago because he played so much time in centre. And I thought, no, I can't do it because he was just too good. And he really should have made my fullback list as well. But yeah, GI, absolute unbelievable player, once in a generation type. And number 1, which I'm surprised didn't already get said, Malcolm Meninga. He absolute legend. Like he shouldn't have been a centre. Should have been a prop. He was the way he could run. He was enormous and strong and fast. Like it was ridiculous. Like
only player to get picked for 4 Kangaroo Tours, I'm pretty sure as well.
Captain, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so big mouth. I'm not doing it.
No. I was just.
You go, Dave.
All right, yeah. So look, I'll be a little bit quicker, and because everyone has been said basically. So my number 3, I agree with Bradley, was Jamie Lyon. Once I was thinking about it, and I looked up the stats, and I remembered how good he was and how frustrating he was. Like I've never liked him. When he was at Para, he debuted in 2000. When he went to Super League and then came back, went Manly, but he was always really good. Okay, but he was always consistent. So and he just played within the spirit of the game. Like he wasn't too much of a grub. Number 2, I split it up with GI and Pearl. To be honest, I said Steve Renouf and. I didn't watch a great deal. I was very young with Steve Renouf, but I've watched like all of our grand finals multiple times. And player of his size, he had a lot of speed. He was pretty good. GI, but he did go back to fullback. So yeah, I'll give it to Pearl. All right, but number 1, bit of a smoke.
Pearl?
Are you on an NRL podcast right now?
Get the fuck out of here.
Anyway, go on.
Steve
number
Brown?
1.
I never heard him called Pearl before.
Okay.
Oh, is this another hook clutch moment? Because all right, anyways, just we go. Pearl's my number 2. All right. But I'd like to say he's tied with GI. But number 1, honestly, underrated. Best centre I've ever seen play in my life would be probably Ben Pomeroy for Cronulla. Just absolutely fucking powerhouse, dominated.
And if you're listening, Pom,
Respect.
The fuckhead doesn't have any social media. He doesn't text me back. Yeah. Anyway, look. No, for number 1, like I know it is biased, but Justin Hodges for me, like, and that it is purely a biased, selfish decision, and I don't fucking come at me. I don't give a fuck. In my opinion, as a pure centre, he was my favourite. All right, he might not have been the best, but he was my favourite, in my opinion, the best. So, thank you.
How about the scoop from dummy half?
Mate, arguably the best scooter in the game, multiple premiership winner.
Arguably, very much arguably. Right,
Plus,
my 3.
I've got Brad Tye on your list, obviously. Yeah.
Hodgie just opens with Justin Hodges at 1.
All about the scoop, baby.
If you look at it, Panthers centers, I've already said Pomeroy, so say something.
This is where you need to edit in scoop videos of Godges. Although here we go.
Number 3 got Matt Burton.
I still got that signed Penny training shirt from that he signed for me.
Mate, save that. They reckon in the future that could arguably be worth more than the Mona Lisa. So just hold on to it. You don't know. All right.
Possible.
I remember we played ping pong against Pom at the Richmond Leagues Club the night of the A-League Grand Final, and I pantsed him. That's my one claim to fame.
I don't talk
Gotta be
about
Rod.
Pong matches.
No, it's not hard to be more athletic. Keep going.
Shut the fuck up. It's my 3, right? So I got 2 of mine have already been said, and I think actually I don't have them in a particular order. Say GI. I think did everyone say GI?
Yeah.
I think everyone said GI. So he's, I guess
Best New South Welshman to play for the Maroons. Yep.
Yeah, fucking motherfucking cheating dogs.
Poachers.
Poachers, yeah. Yeah, back onto that.
With James Tarmow, where in New South Wales was James Tarmow from?
Don't care, you shit. You can have him if you want him. Or New Zealand or wherever he came from. He can
Peter Sterling, born in Toowoomba.
Premiership player last year, Tamo. Who for?
Cool. So I guess collectively GI is probably our top because we're not including Hodges. I had Mark Gasnier as well. Kind of the same with you, Brad. I kind of, for whatever reason, I pair him with Matt Cooper, and I guess they play consistently on opposite sides of the field.
Go together like Dave
for a
and
long
KFC.
time. Yeah, amen. And the one that no one else has brought up,
I know who you're going to say. I already know.
Andrew Eddinghausen.
Good.
No, Andrew Eddinghausen.
I thought it was Big Gerds for sure.
I thought you were going to say Matt Gidley, but sorry.
You know what's hilarious? I actually had him on my list and I took him off.
He's not.
He was
really
good in his own right.
Back to ET's fishing adventures. Yep.
Yeah, so
But fishing in his best mate's bed.
he played 328 games.
Said Eddie
Scored
Howard, Wayne Carey.
165 tries. He actually is the 4th highest try scorer in first grade rugby league, and also the 2nd highest for a player that only played for one club. So he's got.
Who's first
So,
for
ET.
one club player?
B. Slater.
Yeah.
Fuck, he was a good player, wasn't he?
He was 3rd on the all-time list with 172. But yeah, I think ET, he was a gun. Always really consistent for New South Wales. Probably played a lot of his good footy really on the cusp of my lifetime.
Yeah.
Sort of late 80s, early 90s, but watched so much footage of especially Origins and whatnot back in the day. And
Plus,
he's probably my number one out of those 3, to be honest.
Fuck, can we do a top 3 hottest fucking players of all time? Because he'd be up there for me. He is. He is unbelievably hot.
Sandor, Barrett, Eddinghausen.
Oh, Barrett.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Eddinghausen actually.
Although I'm all about Jesse Arthurs at the moment. So.
Kirk Reynolds.
I'm pretty sure Eddinghausen got flown over to England to do the Tina Turner Simply the Best promotion.
Yeah. Fuck, that's a good video.
And he was also on Survivor, Hodgie.
He was too, and Gun too.
Yeah.
Didn't bad. Did good.
Him and,
aged well. He's aged well.
Yeah. There's so many unlucky guys to not make these lists. Like Gasnier would have been a near miss for me as well. Pearl as well. I was thinking of Mick O'Connor for a bit, but I really only caught the back end of his career.
He was more 80s.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but he was a gun. And yeah, got dudes like that. One that I wanted to mention, and it's his name's almost illegal to even say these days in the NRL, was Joel Monahan. He was a weapon, man.
You can say Mitchell Pearce, you can say Joel Monahan.
Yeah, well, they got banished. Joel Monahan got banished from the country, basically.
That is true, actually.
Straight to England.
I wonder if he ever ended up returning.
Yeah, it was like a reverse convict. It's like...
Yeah. Well, apparently he went over and killed it over there too.
Yeah, exactly. But that's like I felt it was obviously it was a dog act. But anyway, it was a bad thing. But
was it? I reckon it was funny as fuck, and no one's got a sense of humor. It really annoys me.
But no, considering what people have gotten away with since.
100. Did he get away with it? But I think he did.
He did the first time. He did it twice. But anyway,
He's in the clink now, isn't he?
So he should
Barber?
be.
Ben
Yeah,
Barber?
exactly. Yeah, how many things did these people get away with before they were banned? And you just,
You let your dog. You let a dog lick your nuts once, and you're
exactly
banished. You're banished forever.
That's what they say. That's what they say. You could cure cancer, but you fuck one goat.
It's on the
And you
mountain
notice the
climber.
guy that
Anyway, good chat on the
Tips
on the
this week?
centers.
Fuck you, 360.
Well, let's go. I believe we've got a fan question, Hodgie. Is that correct?
Yes.
Big fan. Big. Who's the? Well, you've got it. So who's our fan?
Anonymous?
So, for all the people that follow us, we would appreciate fan interaction. We only got one. Tommy G. Tom. There's no last name. He's followed by Brad, so I'm assuming it's Tommy _G_. This can be a group discussion. We can all have our say, but he's essentially given us the answer. Who is the weakest member of the podcast, and why is it Brad? He knows what's up. Thanks, Tommy, mate. Thanks for the interaction.
Keyboard warrior.
Look, it's a great question. Brad, do you want to take the answer?
Well asked.
I disagree with you there, Tommy, because I think we're 4 links in one strong chain, and we're all as strong and as weak as each other, but we're all just strong.
Weak as Brad
together.
Yeah, so look out when you start your podcast with all your friends you don't have, Tom. Round 9 tips.
Yeah, let's get into the tips. I gotta go to bed soon. We're going fucking out.
Yeah, fuck, this has been going for ages.
So tips this week for me, I'll kick it off, is
Sorry, BMOS, you miss out.
tomorrow night, South
because
versus
He's
Melbourne.
retired there.
Storm's way too good for the Rabbitohs. Penrith way too good for Cronulla.
Don't do it all in one game.
Oh yeah,
Saturday.
let's do one game and everyone to say
One game at a
real
time.
quick. Yeah.
Right. Stadium
So you got
Australia.
Storms.
Stadium Australia tomorrow night or tonight when you're listening to this podcast. Souths versus Storms. Brad, obviously you're going Storms. I'm going Storms. Hodgie?
Yeah, I'm going to go Storms. I think Bunnies might get fanned out a little bit in this game.
Roll.
Yeah, I agree. Storm should win that.
Great. Friday evening at Bluebet Stadium, we got Penrith versus.
You having a stroke?
Got a bit of feedback there, mate. Okay. Penrith versus Sharks.
Yeah,
Penny, obviously.
Penrith. Easy.
Yeah, Penrith.
All right. Yeah, I'm going Penrith too. They're $1.10, man. Sharks $7.
I'm actually surprised they're only $7.
Yeah, exactly. They should be $70, I reckon.
Yeah.
Bankwest Stadium Friday night. Bankwest Stadium, Parramatta versus Roosters. That should be a good one.
Going Para. The injuries this week. I think the morale in the camp. Verrills. What do they call it?
Yeah, he did his eyes. Like, he's not wrong with his eye.
Yeah, he detached his retina.
Obviously Morris, but also I think who's that kid for East? Walker?
Joseph Sawali?
Sam Walker.
Or
I think Sam Walker's going to get maybe a bit of a lesson in just exactly how to be a half from Mitch Moses and co. So
I think
Who's
going Eels easily. Eels.
I think he's going to get a lot of
13 plus.
attention. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not going. I'll say Eels 1 to 12.
I think
well.
Eels 13 plus, and Nathan Brown will hump Sam Walker all game.
Yeah, I think.
I was going to say,
there.
I think Sam Walker's going to be getting rushed a lot.
Yeah, big time. They're not going to fuck around.
Plenty of defense running at him too. I think he's been getting away with that a little bit lately.
Yep.
Right. Where the fuck is McDonald's Park? Is that in Albury? I don't know.
Wagga. It's in Wagga, bro. Are you even from Wagga?
Oh, fuck
Please.
me, Alan.
Jesus Christ.
That didn't even exist when I lived there.
Oh, yeah, because you're in Melbourne supporting fucking.
Was it Burger King Park back then?
Yeah.
No, I know the stadium, the park they're talking about. It literally had not been built when I was living there.
Anyway, Melbourne. Who's your next game?
No, let's go.
McDonald's Park, Raiders versus Knights. I've got to go the Raiders. Yeah.
Raiders.
Yeah. Raiders.
Sticky will be indoor.
Yeah, for sure.
Lots of captains today, hey?
That's hectic, eh? I really want to know the reason behind that. Whether he's going to go to another club or he's going to go back to England.
I reckon he's going to go back to England. He's been linked. He's been another player linked to the Broncos. Justin Hodges for listeners we're talking about. Hodgson rather, and
Josh.
Yeah, Justin Hodges. He's got a really good scoop from dummy half, actually.
How hard's your erection out of 10 right now?
11.
Anyway, he's been another player linked to the Broncos, and I don't even want him. He's injured all the time, mate.
He's only good for a strip. He's overrated.
Can run through a door,
amen.
though.
Amen.
Anyway, Saturday evening, Campbelltown. We've got Wests versus Gold Coast.
Gold Coast.
I'm gonna say West are gonna come back and go 13 plus playing at Campbelltown.
Oh,
13 plus.
That's huge.
Ooh, that's a big call.
Yeah.
That's a massive call.
Yeah, I think Titans got exposed last week, and Tino. I don't know if he's back. If Tino's
He's back. He's back.
Yeah.
Clarkey had it on his post today. Thanks, Clarkey.
Oh, mate, I still think Tigers will get up. I think Tigers will. I don't know why. I just think they'll get up at Campbelltown.
And you forgot to. Oh, you did. I don't think you forgot, but just going back a bit as well. If the Tigers can do what the Broncos did to Fafita and run at him, they're a chance.
You've got to.
I think the only issue.
That's the only chance they've got.
I don't think they've got the players to do that though.
Fafita hates tackling. He's been found out this year. He hates tackling.
Yeah.
They told TPJ to 100% like your man for the game is Fafita, and it fucked Fafita up.
You saw the first tackle of the game.
That's what I'm saying, Dave. Yeah.
He got in his face and remember even Lodge held him had a bit of a barney with him. The very first tackle of the game, they were straight into him.
Yeah.
Who's going to do that for the Tigers? But I don't think they've got the players.
Yeah. Well, no, like it
James Roberts
has to be an edge. No, well, it has to be an edge back rower. It can't be BJ Layla. It's got to be an edge back rower, and I don't think Tigers have.
What about his brother, Luciano?
Yeah, but do you think that he's going to be that aggressive kind of player? I don't think so.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like Luciano is a bit of a puss. He's a great ball runner, a great offload, but I don't think he's aggressive like TPJ is. And the other guy is Joe Uppengowie. Maybe he might be able to do the job, but I don't think so. I think, if they do get that right, I think Tigers will get up.
Fair enough.
I think Fred's going to have a big game. I'm going to go Titans.
Yeah, I'm going Titans as well. All right, so Saturday night up at Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville, we've got Cowboys.
Where the Broncos, fucking dogs.
I'll start this one. I think. Okay, result real quick. Broncos. Why? The Cowboys can't come back from last week and the weeks before and suddenly just turn their season around. They're going to leak too many points in the first half, and they're going to chase their tails in the second half. I don't see anything change. I don't see anything changing this week. Taumalo has to have an absolute blinder, but Payne, Haas, Lodge, and TPJ are going to destroy us because where we've been struggling with, and Dave said it in his stats just before, is offloads. Teams offload against the Cowboys, man. It's like all over. Our hooker gets found out, our halves go missing, and teams just run through.
And guess what? You're playing.
All the points this week we're going to concede are going to be through the middle, under the sticks, and it's going to be a very, very, very easy kicking game for who kicks your goals?
Osako.
Jermaine Osako. So yeah, I'm going Broncos 13 plus, and we haven't beaten the Broncos at our new stadium yet. So
we've only played you there once, haven't we?
That's right. That's
Number
right,
one.
Cot. That's right, Cot.
Hang on, let me get the scat man music going.
I'm going to go Broncos as well, to be honest. I think that they sort of figured out that they could score points last week, and I think that's probably going to trouble the Cowboys a little bit.
Yeah, I'm very up and about after last week, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because we have seen even this year after a win against the Dogs how quickly they can turn to shit again, and to me it comes down to the halves, and if Gamble can run the game like he did last week, I think it's going to open things up for Milford to do his thing. And yeah, like you said, the forward pack, they should really be dominating. So Broncos are paying $2.50 for this game as opposed to $1.54 to the
crazy,
Cowboys.
mate.
So get the fuck on that, $2.50, and that's my tip. I'm going with.
We're the Broncos, the mighty Broncos.
Fucking hate this.
Yeah, I'm going with the Broncos.
They're actually paying $6.50 for 13 plus. That's hectic.
They're playing what?
Yeah,
$6.50 for 13 plus the Broncos.
My quick tip, Bronx. I think they'll get up, but I don't think it'll be a 13 plus. I think it'll be tight. I think it could be a classic derby. Like what?
No, for sure. I agree. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I think they'll get up. It'll be close, but like Brad said, I had no idea we're the number one offloading team in the fucking NRL somehow. But if our pack can offload and we can get a few points early, because we can leak points, and Cowboys do have some strike power. Like honestly, they still got Holmes, they still got Drinkwater, they still can score points. So hopefully it's a good game, and Broncos get up 1-12.
Cool.
Manly Warriors.
Yeah, that's a brookie, or Lottoland as they like to call it these days. Reckon I've got to go Manly on that
Manly.
one.
Yeah,
Manly.
I'm going Manly 13 plus. They're going to come back after.
I agree.
They're going to come back
Makes
after.
sense.
I wouldn't say stretching Penrith, but they're going to come back after putting up a reasonable fight against Penrith. And
it was definitely reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
it was not for real.
Sunglasses emoji. And
compared to the game that we played them 4 weeks ago, we pumped them.
So arrogant. Fuck.
Anyway, I'm going Manly 13 plus with that one. Massive at Brookvale.
Yeah.
Warriors are $2.70, which is very short. I think I would say. But
quick question while we're on the Warriors. Sorry, do you guys agree that once the COVID bubble thing finishes, that they should get 2 seasons of every single game at home? Yeah,
for sure.
I when I first said it, I was like, fuck off. But I actually kind of agree with it now that every team should have to travel over there.
I actually reckon for the next 2 years, the Warriors should get every Broncos junior. 50
They already are,
for
mate.
free.
They already are. That's already happening.
Exempt from the cap.
Honestly, that's the first time I heard about it, and my initial thoughts were get fucked, and then after rethinking, after 2 seconds, I thought, actually, it's probably fair. They've given up a lot.
I was the same. Yeah.
We wouldn't have had a season last year if they hadn't done what they did, and they rightly won the Proven Summons People's Choice Award as a team last year, and good on them because they've basically kept the league afloat by living away from home for 6 months. See that?
Yeah.
All right, last game we've got at Cogra, Dragons versus Bulldogs.
Oh, what a dog shit game this is going to be. Fucking hell.
Yes, it is. These used to be classics, these two teams. Remember in the Wayne Bennett Dragons era, how many awesome games these two teams had against each other?
Even pre that.
Yeah.
It was such a I mean, I honestly can't believe the Dragons are sitting 6th at the moment. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
Dragons.
It doesn't make any sense to me, does it?
I'm going to say Dragons, but it's going to be a disgusting game.
Yeah.
Nearly, I think if the Dragons were playing anyone else but the Bulldogs, I'd nearly tip against them, if I'm being honest.
Oh, I would 100%. I'd nearly tip the Bulldogs.
I don't know what Corey Norman brings to that team. I just don't get it. Like how he has played so many first grade games just
It's
boggles
all
the
off-field
mind.
stuff.
But anyway, yeah, Dragons easy over
Yeah.
the cutest guys alive, Bulldogs.
Did Norton play Origin last year or was it the year before?
Oh, it was like fucking the year before that, man.
Yeah.
And that was the one. Remember where Tedesco scored the winner?
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was because Norman thought, I'm not going to really try and put in. We're just going to lose the series. That's just his whole attitude towards football. So fuck Norman.
He's played 213 games. That's crazy. Isn't it?
He was probably just thinking about getting out to the cross after the game or something.
I should shit on him
so-
too much.
Fanboys we got in this
Um,
podcast.
Did you say something about Justin Hodges then? Or? All right, so that'll do it for this week. Next week, we're going to change it up with the top three, and we're going to skip that, and we're going to name our predicted Origin teams for 2021. Are we all on board for that?
Yeah, I think what's it, a month out at that time?
Yeah, it's only a couple of
It's
weeks
pretty
away.
close. Yeah, it's not too far.
Yeah. Can we prep at 7:45 for 8? No. All right, cool.
Only Hodgie.
That's it for this week.
Dead set. Hodgie's going to get on the podcast next week and